Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture on front-end development. Today we are going to start with our actual HTML part. So let's start with that. So what is HTML first of all? HTML is basically full form is hypertext markup language. To simply put it across, it is a language which browser is able to understand that okay, what all are the objects that you want to represent on your screen and is able to represent them. Okay, so as an example, if I just tell the browser that okay, this is a URL, right, it might not understand that, right? But instead there, if I put it in some HTML tag indicating that it is a link, or as an example, if I just say that okay, this is like I just put an image, like copy paste, browser will not be able to understand that okay, I have a file with image and I want to show it, right? So there are specific tags or specific, you can say, ways to represent different objects that you want to place on your system or on your web page. Okay, so here I've introduced a new term called as tags. So what is a tag? Tag is simply some way of representing a particular object that you want to display. So for example, the first most the basic tag is the HTML tag itself. So all the HTML pages have starting with their HTML tags. So when I write something like this, browser is able to understand that I'm talking about an HTML page or something that I want to open on a browser and should be able to see certain objects. Okay. Now this syntax, so this is a special way. So just like you do programming in any other languages, there are syntax to do different things, right? Similarly, this is a syntax for opening a particular tag, and this is a syntax for closing that particular tag. So less than and slash and greater than closes the particular tag written in the middle, and just less than and greater than opens a particular tag. So what do we mean by opening and closing? That means the HTML page starts here and ends here. Everything written inside this is to be shown in the HTML page. Okay. Now, generally, an HTML page has two main sections. First is the header section, and then is the body section. So let me just write head here for the header part. We can write more things here, which we want to put inside the header. And then we have a body part. And let's say here, I just want to write my name for now. So what this basically tells the browser is that, okay, I want to represent an HTML page, right? That is something that opens on the browser, which will have an empty header, which will not have anything in the header. Then the body of the page, or what we present on the page, should have a simple text which has my name written in it, right? So let's just quickly jump on to a code editor and try to put this piece of code, HTML code there, and see how it opens on the browser. Okay, so what I've done is I've created my own folder. So this is, by the way, Visual Studio Code. You can simply download it from any of the online available links, right? Just download whatever OS you are working on, just download it from that, but for that particular OS. So here I've simply created a profile page.html. So there are two extensions which work for HTML. Even if I rename it to, let's say, HTM, it is still an HTML page, right? Or if I rename it to HTML, that also works. Fair enough. But basically, I'm creating an HTML page. So as I mentioned, I will start with an HTML tag. So Visual Studio will automatically close your tags, so you don't need to worry too much about that. Then I'll have a header tag, which, as I said, I'll keep empty. Then I'll have a body tag, in which I place my own name, and I save it. Okay. So again, the same thing. I'm telling browser, like if browser opens this profile page.html, I'm telling it that, oh, it is a page, it is an HTML page which has a header, which is empty, and has a body, which contains a single name. Okay. So let me open this on the browser and see how it looks. So what I'll do is I'll say copy path. So basically I'm copying this complete path. And then what I'll do is I'll simply go to any browser page and paste it there. Okay. So I've just copied that path and pasted it here. And it simply opens a simple page with body of my particular name, right? So as simple as that. So we just created a very basic HTML page with our name on it, right? And it opens on the browser. Okay. You might be wondering that, okay, this was a file and I copy pasted it here. So that is why it opened like this. But in fact, when you deploy your websites also, it's nothing but you are simply putting a file in that particular machine, and that file you are simply projecting to the person's browser screen, right? So instead of it opening your own file, when you open any website, let's say you open our own website, there will be a file there somewhere on the internet called index.html in our case. That file is being brought here and being shown. So the only difference being that this file is fetched from somewhere else called as our front end server. We'll discuss more about again this later once we start doing a bit of coding. And here we are just fetching the file from our own machine. That is the only major difference, nothing else, right? So let's go ahead and let's try to create some little bit more complex HTML pages and try to identify some more tags that can be found. So as you see here from our previous video where we looked at a profile page, we are exactly going to build that like throughout this course of these lectures. Right now, I have just picked one portion of it, which if you see has a few things. There is a particular image here, right? Followed by your name as a heading. Then there is a smaller heading about. Then there is some paragraph about you. Then again a smaller heading similar to this. Then there are again two links. This link will take you to your mailing. This link will take you to your calling number. Then again a small heading followed by three more links, right? Okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to simulate this. We are going to try to make, again, like with HTML, we don't go for layout. Like it will not look exactly like this because we might not have a circular way to circularly carve the image, nor we could have a way to center align things, nor we could have a way to present it just like this. But we'll try to put all of these objects onto our page. Okay. So first things first, this first thing is an image, and that is why it will be inside an image tag. There is a tag called img, which can be used to load certain images. We'll discuss more about this when we start implementing it. Then there is a heading, and there are few more headings of different types. So generally, when we want to represent a heading, there are special heading tags which go from H1 to H6. So H1 is your largest heading, like the heading of your exact page. And generally in a page, we are advised to have only one H1. We should not have more than one H1. H1 is basically your like mega heading, you can say. Now inside that H1, there could be other H2. Inside those H2, there could be some H3s. Inside those H3, there could be an H4 and so on and so forth till H6. So it's like a big heading, probably your book's title. Then it could have some titles of your chapters. Then it could have some subtitles of different portions of the chapter. Furthermore, till 6 layers. Okay. That is the major idea of providing H1 to H6. And their sizes also decrease like this. So when you put something under H1, it will be huge, followed by something smaller in H2, followed by something smaller in H3, and so on till H6. So these are again tag names, like you basically represent them like this. right? And they are used for representing headings. Then when you have a normal paragraph, you generally represent it under P. So P represents a paragraph, P tag represents a paragraph. Last thing, we have certain links. When we go for links, we go for A tag. So A tag represents your links. So now we know how to represent everything here with image. Then we will have a heading. Then we'll have subheadings. Then we'll have some paragraph and some other links. So let's go on and try to create this using HTML. Before doing that, there are two different types of tags that you see here. And I'm going to discuss more about these two different categories of tags before we jump on to actual implementation of this piece of like HTML, right? Okay. So as I talked about that there are two different categories of HTML tags. We'll see why they are different. First type of tags are called as container tags. What this simply means is that these tags can have other tags inside them. So as an example, the first tag that we discussed about HTML, it can contain other tags inside it. Similarly, we talked about body also. A body of our HTML page might contain some headings, some images, and stuff like that, right? Similarly, if let's say you want to put an image in your heading, you ideally are allowed to do that, right? So all the tags from H1 to H6, they are again also container tags. Similarly, P also is a container tag. Second type of tags are called as non-container tags. The idea being that they cannot contain other stuff inside it. Let's say image. Then it's a purely non-container tag. Image cannot contain anything else. Image will simply have a URL from which we have to pick that image, and that's it, right? So why is it important to get this distinction? Because they have different ways of representation. So when we go for container tags, we generally have a separate opening and a separate closing because we want to put something inside it generally, right? But when we go to a non-container way of representation, we can shorten the tag and simply put it like this. So let's say I just give out its URL. So what I'm exactly doing here is I'm saying it opens and close here itself. It does not contain anything inside. So I don't need to write two times image open, image close. I'm just combining it and saying it opens here. This is the URL from which I want to pick the image. And then it closes also. There is nothing there. So you have just shortened it. Okay. So non-container tags can have shortened way of representations where it opens and closes at the same space. Cool. Let's move on to our implementation of our profile page and put across our different components right there and then. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, okay, I'll use this here. 1 second. So I've taken one particular image that I'm going to put as my profile picture, right? So essentially what I did was, like, if you remember the different parts that we had created, we had one image that we wanted to put our profile picture. Below that, there was the name of us, which was present in, let's say, a heading form. Then there was about with some details. Then there was a contact with two different contacts, one to email, one to phone. Then there was one particular portion where a few of my social media accounts would be linked, right? So I'll try to create exactly that for me. You can create it for yourself, right? So first I'll start with an image that I want to put across. So copy path and I paste it here. So essentially what I've said is that you have to have an image whose source is this particular place. So basically it is taken from this particular place. Now, this need not be in your laptop at a place. It could also be somewhere from outside, right? So like you can put an img or link or something like that. That also works here. Okay. But generally, it's a good idea to download it and keep it in your folder, because those links might be deleted later, right? So generally what you do is you create a separate folder called resource and put all your images there. Okay, so I basically have my profile picture now. Then I want a heading. So I'll basically use h2 for now and put across my name. Okay, so let me show you this much. Like, so I have a profile picture and I have a name. Let me show you this much and how it has been represented in our page. So if I refresh, I have this weird photo of mine plus a heading, which is my name. Again, I'm saying it would not look exactly like that because we have not learned CSS as of now, where we can arrange stuff on the page, right? So this, if I want to increase its heading, like put it to h1 or decrease, and I'll show you how they are different. So let's quickly look at that as well. So let's say I put it first as h1, and then I put it as an h6. So let's see the difference. So as you can see, this is relatively huge, whereas this is really, really small, right? So this is h6, this is your h1. Okay, so we had our main heading h1, which was my name. Below that, I wanted to have about me heading and then a paragraph about me, right? So I'll quickly just go to that particular portion. So essentially after h1 of my name, I wanted to have an about me section. And then I wanted to have a paragraph. Okay. Is a CSC graduate from IIT Varanasi, capital for 2.5 years and is currently co-founder at Programming Pathshala. A simple paragraph about me. Then next was that I will have another heading called as contact, and I will say, okay, that I want to have a contact link. Okay, so now we come to links. So we want to link someone so that if he clicks on that email, his email account opens up, right? So I'll say a, which is generally used for a link, right? And that link should have my email ID, right? So I'll not put my exact email ID, but I'll put a random email ID, xyz at the rate, let's say, programmingpathshala.com. Okay. And then, so with links, there is a special parameter associated with that tag called as href. So what does href do? Href tells where do you want to take the user while they click on this particular link. So just like we had source here, which told, okay, where to put this image from, pull this image from, this href tells where to take the user when someone clicks on this particular link. So I'll say href equal to mail to, let's say, xyz at the rate ppa.com. So generally we use, I think it's mail to for linking to a particular email ID. Let's quickly check it out if it's mail to or not. If it's not, we can quickly Google search it. Okay, so we have our heading, we have a paragraph about me, we have my contact, and when I click on this, like you might not be able to see it, but basically my mail just opened up. If you try it on your own PC, then you will see that your particular email opens up and you'll be able to, like, it will be there in your to, so that you can type up your subject and your mail and send it across, right? Okay. Similarly, next I will have another A, for my phone number. So let's say my number is this, highly unlikely, but okay. So we have href equal to telephone number. Okay. So this will now ensure that when you click on it, your FaceTime or your phone call opens up. Okay. Next, I think we had a similar thing, our social media platforms. I don't remember what the heading was, but let's say I put all my social media here. So I can have my ahref to linkedin.com, my LinkedIn ID, and so on and so forth. I can put other social media. But basically, it gives you the idea that, okay, these are the different common tags that you can use, which is one for link, one for image, one for your text. Let me just quickly go over and refresh this page. So this is your first link. This is your second link, which makes you allows you to take a call. And this is, let's say, a social media, which will open to the LinkedIn page, right? Right now it is taking us to the particular file because I think we did not mention HTTPS there. If we put the complete link, we should be able to get there. So let us try again. So yeah, this tries to open up. Okay, most probably my LinkedIn ID is wrong, but basically it will try to open up the LinkedIn ID. Okay, so we discussed basically about our image, our headings, our P tag, and our let's say A tags, basically your link tags, right? We'll move on and discuss some more details about other common tags that we can use throughout our web development, right? And slowly and steadily, we'll move on and cover everything in HTML, moving on to CSS, where we'll try to also make sure that these like pages exactly look like how they should be. Okay, let's meet in the next video then.